The recording has started and the transcript has started. Before I do this, I want to make sure that we're ready to go ahead with new stuff. So before I start with the new module on configuring the UX1 panel, what questions do you have on anything we covered before this? If not, let's stick to what we've done before. Give me a thumbs up, please, if you don't have questions. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Gonzalo. All right. So let's start with the new stuff then. I've got 3 modules for today. I'm not entirely sure how long it will take us. This one is not that long. We're going to discuss basically the 3 modules that we have is configuring UX1 panel, the identity management module, and a little bit about maintenance and monitoring. So if we're done, we're done. We do have one more day, which is if I am correct, coming Monday. That one used to be scheduled on coming Thursday, but it's a national holiday in the Netherlands. It's Ascension. So we are off. So we move that day to coming Monday. Coming Monday is fully set for reseller management. Today, we have those 3 modules that I discussed: UX1 panel, identity management, and maintenance and monitoring. And let's kick off the configuring the UX1 panel module now. So what are we going to do? We're going to look at the UX1 panel overview, and I think that this does not need that many slides, because I think that from the perspective of you having used the platform for some time, UX1 panel is pretty clear what the look and feel is. We've extended it since this module was created to resellers, and eventually we extended it to the provider as well. The idea is that the modern panel will be UX1, all new functionality, all new modules that we add to the platform will be available in UX1 and probably in UX1 only. That means that from now on, version 21 will gradually move towards a native UX1 setup, although there are some functionalities that we still want to keep in of our classic, of our previous platform. And as long as those features are only available from the classic panel, we will keep that classic panel in. And to be honest, we had a meeting this morning about some of these things. Our product team does not have a, let's say, timeline in which to decommission the classic panel. They have a timeline on when they want to add new features, when that feature would be, let's say, adjacent to an existing feature only in classic panel. They will take that feature and implement it in UX1 and get it working there, so that you don't need to go to classic panel for that feature anymore. But we don't have, let's say, an end date for the classic panel when it comes at least to provider and resellers. As you know, for end customers, the classic panel has already ended. All the features that we have that we think are important for customers to have are ported to UX1, so we don't need a classic panel for your end customers anymore. And even some of the functionality that was in our classic customer control panel that we did not port, I think is an advantage that we don't have that anymore. So we're looking at the overview. We're going to quickly look at the marketplace and maybe let's say both marketplaces, because the marketplace that we mention here is the built-in marketplace, and we know that there is a module that is called UX1 Marketplace for provider, for reseller, and for customers. That is a more elaborate marketplace, so I'm going to quickly go through that marketplace piece because there isn't that much news in it. And of course, we're going to look at how you would be able to fairly easy customize the UX1 environment for your resellers, for your end customers, and what are the, let's say, out-of-the-box capabilities of customizing the look and feel, or at least customizing what is presented and what is not presented, maybe even where it is presented. So let's move on to the objectives. Of course, first we want to have you see what the features are of UX1, and this is the part that I would say I'm going to quickly go over it. It's a UX1 panel overview. This is more for, I would almost say, new to the platform partners that we have, so that they know what is where. You, or at least as a company, you are in this business with this platform for a longer time, so you will know how things are working. Marketplace technology and practice the customizations. So the overview. First of all, what is the idea of UX1? Well, UX1 initially was, let's say, was created as a replacement for the customer control panel. Or at least we wanted to give the end customer a better experience than the classic customer control panel. The classic customer control panel was very powerful, but was for, I would almost say, 99% of all the end customers in the world, very overwhelming, because it had all capabilities of tweaking things, fine-tuning things, where, of course, all those things were aimed at web hosting in a data center. That panel was not really ready for software as a service. So we had to make two steps. We had to make it more friendly for the end customer, and we had to enable, let's say, software as a service services into that panel. And for us, it was easier to create a new control panel for the customer view than to adapt the existing one to SaaS services and change the look and feel. That was also the reason why that control panel lived parallel for some time. We had the customer control panel, the CCP, and we had UX1 or CCP v2. And the thought behind it was, just as we have now for resellers, just as we have now for providers, because most of the stuff you could do in that UX1 environment, but not everything. Some services were so interlocked with that old customer control panel, so that you had to go back. So it took us some time. We did not want to wait with releasing it until we had fixed all those issues. We wanted to gradually move there. Also to give our vendors, of course, an incentive to start already building for CCP v2 or UX1. But it started off as a customer control panel replacement tool. And after that, we expanded that to the reseller control panel. And the latest addition was, of course, the provider control panel. And now we're adding modules to it. And as I said, new modules to the platform will, by default, be enabled in UX1 only. We're not going to, let's say, backport these services to the old control panel. That's one of the reasons why, for instance, a service and a service plan created in Product Lifecycle Manager is not sellable through the classic panel. Why not? Because the UX1 has all the interlocks and the data interchanges between all the modules in it because it's based on Kubernetes. Well, the classic panel only has a few of those, meaning that, for instance, relationship validity checking, et cetera, that happens through UX1, and all the modules that are hooking up together in there will not take place. And that is why those things happen. Why you get that error message if you try to order a PLM-based service plan through the classic panel, where it says, no, you have to buy that through UX1. That's all because of that interoperability between those microservices, where the old core of our billing platform is, let's say, a monolith that does not talk interactively with all those other modules. Why not? Because they were never there, right? So what can we see there? We can see order history, invoice history. We can see descriptions, total, statuses, dates. I hope this is not new for you. This might be new for you if you, let's say, billing generates invoices as a result of the order processing. The invoice for the requiring payment is generated based on a billing order. By default, UX1 panel displays only invoices without them displaying billing orders. When a customer pays an invoice in UX1, billing closes that invoice with the payment from the customer and thus close the invoice as well as the payment. However, if an invoice is $0 because a product is free, or there is a let's say a discount of 100% or a promotion of 100%, there will not be an invoice generated in general unless those checkboxes that says display zero price is set, meaning that sometimes customers call and say, hey, we don't see our subscription A, B, and C on our invoices. And they get a little bit worried. Will we get an invoice later? Will we be charged? Are these subscriptions running, et cetera, et cetera? So for those scenarios, it is possible using a setting that is platform-wide, by the way. It's platform-wide. So everybody will have that same scenario where we will display the billing orders. And the billing order is always shown. Even if the result would be a $0 invoice, the billing order is there. So there might be a reason for you as a seller to display those billing orders. If you get a lot of these complaints, of course, there are two things you can do. You can explain, no, everything is okay. You have a promoted price. Remember, it's free. So there is nothing to bill. There are three solutions. One is explain to them what is happening. The second one is, of course, display the billing order. I don't like it because it crowds the, for me at least, it crowds the user interface with billing orders and things that the customer, I would almost say, should not see. The third one is maybe the easiest one. If you get complaints that $0 bills are not shown as an invoice, well, let's generate them. So one of the things you can do in either your marketing tool or in your service plans, let's go to service plans in this case, and let me show it first there. In your service plan, there is, let me go to some plan and go to the resource rates and do an edit there. One of the things I can do is I can do this show zero price. So that means that the system will generate an invoice with a line that actively says that you don't pay for this and you don't pay anything for that, and you don't pay anything for that. So if you have those requests, just make sure you generate those invoices. That is the second solution. The third one would mean, of course, enable those billing orders. I can do the same thing with my promotions and with my discounts. If I go here, also there is a column here that says show zero price. So if I give a full 100% discount, check the box so that customers will see that they don't pay anything, that we give them that full, in this case, that full promoted price for $0. Make sure they see it in the invoice. Making things visible helps often with those questions. So I think that instead of going to settings, where is it? Customer CP. I always have to search this one. Here it is. Order display billing orders in UX1. By default, it's set to no. I prefer to keep this one as a no and set the zero price as the solution to this, so that the customer will see, okay, I am invoiced for this specific subscription, but I don't need to pay for it because it's zero. That's probably clearer than showing your customer that there is a billing order. And what's the result of a billing order? Yeah, they don't know what a billing order is in the first place, right? So it is something to keep in mind. I can edit that at System Settings, Customer CP. And here at the bottom of Customer CP, there is the display billing orders, yes or no. Then we have our marketplace. And as I said, there are two. We've got the default marketplace. It's built into UX1 panel. And if the UX1 marketplace for customers, for resellers, or for providers is not enabled, the system says that this is shown. I don't agree there, and I will explain to you why. But it can be shown, and to be honest, I can even show both if I want to. It confuses the hell out of the customer, but it's technically possible. Product availability is just sales categories and service plans being enabled. So if I have my service plan enabled, or as the UI says, published, and that service plan is in a sales category, the service plan will be shown in the default marketplace in that category. If it's in multiple categories, it shows up multiple times. On the other side, we've got UX1 Marketplace for customers. And it's basically an extension to UX1. This UX1 Marketplace for customers, for resellers, and for providers, by the way, now can be enabled or disabled by the layer above. What do I mean with the layer above? If I am a reseller, an L1 reseller, my provider can enable it, whether I have it or not. Of course, I can switch it off if I don't want to use it. But if my provider disables it, I cannot enable it. The layer above is also partly in charge of what products will and can be shown. What do I mean with that? One of the settings of that UX1 Marketplace for customers is that as a reseller, I use the product catalog of the layer above. So in that case, from my provider. And it's a little bit better customizable. I can decide to still display sales categories, but within that sales category, I can decide to, let's say, display 9 out of 10 service plans, because the 10th, I don't want to display it either because it's a complex one where there are a lot of questions asked. So I want to reserve that one for my reseller marketplace, where the sales team knows which questions to ask and which answers to have. So we don't enable it for the customers, but we do enable it for UX1 Marketplace for resellers. Those kind of things you can do. What is the marketplace for? Well, it is, of course, to buy new services. I mean, that is hopefully not a surprise to you. I can just share my service plan catalog with the layers below or above, depending on how you look at it. And as I said, the sales categories are still a thing. Sales categories are the categories that will show up in my marketplace, whether that is the marketplace that is, let's say, the new marketplace, the UX1 marketplace for customers, resellers, and providers, or whether that is the original marketplace. We can group our plans into sales categories. Sales categories don't need to be, as you see here on the example, they don't need to be product bound. Here it looks like it's evidently product bound, etc., etc. I can talk about, I can sell collaboration products, and then anything that would relate to collaboration tools, etc., etc. You can sell there, and there will probably be some Office 365 plans in there. There might be different plans in there. So from my perspective, a lot of our users, our partners, look at this in the same, I would almost say, limited way. They hook up to, oh, this is Office 365, this is Acronis, this is Adobe, etc., etc. Make sure that you know what your customers are looking for. How are they searching for your product? How do they end up on your marketplace in the first place? And use that terminology. The UX1 marketplace for customers, for resellers, and for providers is, of course, let's say, the marketplace that we are promoting. It has better navigation. There is some smart search in there. And what I like about it, as opposed to the old marketplace, is with one order, I can buy 3, 4, 5 service plans because it's logical to buy them together. There is no relationship between those products. They're just purchased in one go. There is no parent-child relationship. There is no relationship whatsoever, except for the fact that they are all referring to the same sales order. Nothing more, nothing less. So a couple of settings that we have there is we can set the vendor catalog, meaning that I, as a provider, have my own catalog and I hand this over to my reseller, and the reseller will now only be able to sell the products as I will sell them to my customers as well. So the vendor catalog. You could also configure that marketplace so that the reseller can set up his own catalog. That means he can import his own sales categories, if eventually maybe even set up his own set of plans that he wants to sell, create own product pages, categories, configure own banners and promos, etc., etc. All that information depends on that little setting. Do you want the vendor catalog or the own catalog? The only thing that a reseller can do if he gets the vendor catalog is he can configure banners and promos, and he can control the visibility of objects. So he can decide that this product page will not be showing, or this service plan will not be showing. But he cannot say, I want this service plan shown at a different location. He can only disable it on the original location as he gets it. And this is from, let's say, version 21. This is, let me go to operations and go to sales channels. Here we have a reseller marketplace and an end customer marketplace. Let me go to UX1 and go to sales channels again. Here we have the 3. So you also see that initially, at provider level, we had in Classic Panel the reseller marketplace and the customer marketplace, but not the provider one. So the moment we added that provider marketplace, we only added it to the module in UX1 and not in Classic Panel. The first thing to do is, of course, to enable specific marketplaces. And customer marketplace is enabled. You see there's a little bit of delay. Why? Because it needs to pull all this information from the database the moment we work. We can configure the marketplace, meaning that we can change this configuration from my perspective, and I set it as resellers can configure their own marketplace. That's what I want, because I want my resellers to be autonomous, that they are, let's say, able to set their own stuff, their own configuration. Another thing, whether or not a reseller can buy products for their own use, meaning that, hey, we actually also need email to communicate with each other, to communicate with our customers. Why would we not buy Office 365 from ourselves? Right? Why would we have to buy it from, why would we have to be, let's say, a customer from the provider for a service that we also sell? So those are a couple of things that you can do. Same thing for end customers. Resellers can configure yes or no. If the marketplace is a default page for customers after login, means whether they end up in the marketplace or whether they end up in the, how is it called again, the dashboard with all the tiles. Of course, if you are on the platform to sell, I would almost say that the marketplace being a default page for customers is the best thing, because every time they log in, they see all the new services that you have. You have your banners there. You have your promotion campaign kind of things there, which means that at that point, every time they see that you have something new, that you have a product introduction, etc. So I would go for that one. Configuration is done fairly simple. What is the place to go after login? Is it dashboard or is it marketplace? And use the vendor catalog or build new content. Let's go for marketplace, apply. It stores it. Not sure why it takes that long. We also can set up, oh, here it is. We can also set up a promo section. And the promotion section is a set of tiles that will, let's say, carousel through the moment somebody's sitting and watching the marketplace. And there you set service tiles. Service tiles are, let's say, I would compare them to sales categories. I will show you that in a couple of minutes. Of course, we can do that for the reseller marketplace as well. And we can do that not for the provider marketplace. Provider marketplace is, of course, the highest level. These people should know what they're doing. Resellers are reselling from the provider. So new products are introduced at provider level. So they should know what is there. Besides that, we can trigger the home page where we can set banners for each of the marketplaces, be aware. And one of the things you need to remember is that if you added a product group or product portfolio or sales categories or whatever to your portfolio, you have to make sure that you import the catalog. Here you see that in this case, there were 2 new plans and 9 new pages introduced into my my reseller marketplace. Of course, again, this goes for each and every marketplace that we're doing. So we have to wait for this to happen. Again, and here we have 10 new pages, but no new plans. And then the provider marketplace, we need to do the same thing. If I want to add a banner here, I need to click the plus. It gives me the image. It's a link to an image. It's not the image itself. I do not upload a file here. I can put multiple in there. It will also carousel through. And I can put a specific item at a specific position. And if they click it, there is a destination link. That could be something internally, that could also be something externally. That if, for instance, if you introduce a new white pages page, that is one of the things you can present here, especially for the end customer marketplace. If this is the first page your customers open. So they come in, they see new white paper page, and then they are brought to, if they click that image, they are brought to that new white paper page. And of course, you might want to open that link in a new window then, or a new tab, right? I can add my top selling services, promo section. The name here is top selling services, but it is whatever you want it to be by clicking edit. And then you can add categories there. That is your, where is it? Let's enable this. And this is your promotion page. So if we enable this and say this is promoted services, save. And we go back to the end customer marketplace, the promo section. Let's say, let's just select 2 or 3, whatever. Save this. Min, there we are, add. Come on. Oh, I need to fill out all the text. I'm not going to do that. But this is where you do that in that end customer marketplace, in the promo section. Come on. It's jumping back and forth for me. Microsoft NCE perpetual software from 10. Something like that. Add. Oh, somebody decided that there are a lot of descriptions in the fields. And we now have to remove a section for everything. And the thing is, you see it's all English, even though every single one of those items should be a different language. So be careful what you do with this. Just doing a demo already gets me a lot of work to be done. Because we have all the languages installed on this platform, I have to edit all of the languages. Right? Let's add this. There's my promo section. Now you see that we have one promoted category, and on the home page of the end customer marketplace, we did do it for the end customer marketplace, right? Yeah. Homepage. That's one of the things I noticed. Every once in a while, you toggle between some of these items. There we are. Now we see that it is promoted services, and this is the category in there. If I go back to this, to the home page for the end customer marketplace, I can do a preview. And for whatever reason, it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. I can even select in what language I want to see the preview. I can go back to edit and see what's wrong here. It looks like this one is well configured. I'm not sure why it is not working. Sometimes stopping and starting the end customer marketplace helps there. Pause. It makes the space, but it doesn't display it. I'm not sure what is happening. I will figure that out later. Let's go to the next topic, which is the customization. So what can I do? There's a lot I can do. I can play around with what we would say the tabs and the tiles that I see. I want to remove tiles. I want to move them to a different location, etc., etc. I can do that. Another thing I can do is I can make sure that customers cannot cancel their subscriptions themselves, that the whole cancellation button is not there. So despite cancellation policies, etc., etc., I still don't want my customer to just be able to do that. I want them to call our customer support so that customer support can see if there might be an issue, if there are policies in place for other items, etc., etc. The same thing for auto renew. I can, let's say, remove the button disable auto renew, just to make sure that a customer cannot break it. If the customer wants to disable auto renew because we send them that notification like we talked about last Friday, they can call and we will do it for them. That's why they pay maybe a little bit more, but we take care of those things. We make sure that things don't go wrong on that, in that perspective. Because we've seen that some customers are clicking around in their UX1 panel. Oh, what does this button do? It doesn't do anything. What they just did is they disabled auto renew, but it's hardly visible that that setting has changed. And guess what? All of a sudden, at the end of their subscription, they receive an email that they need to act, where they are under the impression that their subscription would just continue. It doesn't. So that is a key thing. These things, these two, are a little bit weird, because these are permissions or privileges, I should say. In operations, under security, there are, and let me quickly find it. No, I need to be on the first page. I skipped it. Here we are. These two. Allow canceling subscriptions in UX1. For an end customer, you can switch it off. You can, for the customer role, end customer role, where is it? Staff member defaults or for the customer privileges, you can switch it off. Allow canceling. By default, it's enabled. Disable it. Allow changing auto renew policy. Disable it. In that case, that it can still be done, but customer support or first level support has to do it for them. These guys should know what the repercussions are. They can explain it to the customer if needed, and then they process it. That's always an interesting one, I would say. Another thing I can do is I can, let's say, manipulate the pages or the tiles. And that happens actually in the UX1 navigation option. In UX1 navigation, there are two things that you can do. You see an order item here and you see a status. So anything that I don't want to show, I hide. And here you see that I have 5,408 items that I can hide or show. You will see that this number is not an absolute number. This number will change based on the amount of, I would almost say, coming to you to your question in a second. This will change based on the amount of applications that you have installed. Those applications will introduce their own screens at different levels. So you can hide or show those screens in that case. I see a question. Ana Paula, tell me.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Did you have a nice weekend? Everything is okay? Since you last talk? Okay. So
it's not the last talk. On Monday, it's the last talk.
Since we last talk. Since. You didn't hear the since part of the sentence.
Okay. No, everything is okay. Tell me.
So what I have here in my 20.25 version is quite different. May I share my screen?
Of course.
Okay. Let me know when you are seeing it.
Yep.
Okay, so I came to end user marketplace, right?
Yeah.
And then I enabled the end user marketplace. And here we did not have this. And then I came here to the service plan, and I have an error. Wait, sorry. Funny. Fine. Let's reload it. Because this is how, okay. So, no, not here. I came here to, sorry, end user marketplace. Yeah, no, end user marketplace. And then I came here to manage the content because I have less items than you. But anyways, I came here and then I put this one here.
Yeah.
This is for showing it to resellers, right? But once I put this here, shouldn't I be able to see? And because this is my marketplace, right? Why is that it didn't change?
That's what I was wondering for my preview as well. So I'm not 100% sure. There's something weird happening on my side. Can you go back to the configuration?
Yes.
Can you go to end customer marketplace? It is enabled. Can you go to the promo section?
I only have these three, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to preview when I come to customize here. I don't have I can't say preview or whatever. I don't have those buttons. I only have these.
No, but you have that on the homepage option, not on the end customer marketplace.
Oh, okay. So, okay. But
Promo
here,
section, manage.
yeah.
No, up, please, because it looks like the promo section itself is disabled.
But here it says that this is about resellers.
That is something that I've seen before. Can you switch it on and then refresh your marketplace?
Yeah, sure. Switch it on, back to the customer, just to make sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then let's go to dashboard, browse. It's loading. Yeah.
But it doesn't show anything. That is weird. I don't know. I would have to
F5.
investigate.
Oh, okay.
Now it's
Cache.
there. Okay, yeah.
It's cache. It's cache.
Yeah.
It's cache.
I've seen it before. I've seen that before. Let me show you another thing that I think is a little bit weird.
Please share your screen.
Yeah.
I stole your screen before.
Yeah,
so.
no problem. But look at what I have here.
I'm a thief.
Look at what I have here. I've got the reseller marketplace, and then the button for, or the tile for the marketplace says sell a broad range of cloud services within minutes, and it says browse. Logical, right? I'm a reseller. I wanna sell. From my perspective, when I go to the end customer marketplace, guess what? Sell a broad. I'm a customer. I'm not selling anything.
It makes sense.
So sometimes you will see things where I have a feeling that they copied something from the reseller into the end customer marketplace that is not entirely correct. It should say either something else, like in this case, it's easy fixable, because if I do buy,
then it's nice.
I fixed it, right?
Nice,
but
yeah.
You will see those kind of things. And if things don't work out and you see something disabled where you think it's for the reseller, switch it on and test it, because I've noticed that before. I've managed, I mentioned this to the product team, and they say, yeah, these things are so easily fixable by the customer, or these things are only in the back end that the end customer or the reseller doesn't see it. It has very low priority to fix those things. But that is the reason why you did not see that that tile, because it was just disabled. The promo section was disabled.
Yeah, but then the description needs to be fixed, because yeah.
I know.
Because in that case it was a text that you can customize whatever, but this is instructions. In the wrong instructions, yeah.
Yeah, true. But I think they just copied this, and maybe they even just pull the same user interface for a different object. So it might be harder to fix than expected. But these are things I have reported, but it's not high prio to fix this.
Yeah. But you see, I read the instructions. Yeah. I read it and I was like, no, I should not touch this because I'm a good girl.
You have to.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. For the rest, each application will have its own thing, right? Because that's what we were talking about. I can hide specific applications if I want to. I can hide specific navigation items. I can hide specific views. If I hide this navigation, all these subcomponents are hidden as well. Hiding is as easy as you select the box and you click on top the hide button. What I want to look at is marketplace. Here we have our marketplace options. We've got the marketplace itself, CCP billing. We've got another marketplace item, customer, reseller, and own marketplace. Own marketplace is the is, for me at least, the marketplace that is provider. A sub reseller will also see own marketplace. So they can hide their own marketplace and show their sub resellers marketplace if you want to. And what I want to do is I want to play around with this one. Edit. It's there, cancel. Okay, UX1 navigation. Because I want to hide this and I want to show it again. You see that both are now hidden, as I said. And of course, if I show, it goes for the same. It takes that entire functionality. So now I have them shown again. And if I now go to a customer, let's go to Eric's customer. Look what I have. I've got a marketplace and I've got a marketplace. This is the new one with my promoted services in there. And this is 321, the old marketplace as it used to be. As I said, I can hide or show all of them. That is the reason why I said I am not, I don't agree with that one marketplace will only show if the other one is not showing. I can show them both, or I can hide them both. And the other option is, of course, that I want to hide the reseller marketplace, whereas the customer marketplace, and I click hide here. In that case, guess what? No marketplace will be showing. 3, 2, 1. Now we have disabled the customer marketplace. If I, and these things, that's one key thing to remember. These things, the menu items are loaded when I log in or when I open the UI. If I refresh the UI, it will not show. So I need to really close that user interface and open this one again. Now I don't have any marketplace in my menu anymore. The tile is still there because I didn't hide that one. I only hid the navigation item. These are the navigation items. These are the tiles. So let me enable it again, making sure I don't break things. Let's first enable this one, show, and then let's go to that, to the order that we have here. Customer marketplace has a order, where is it? Here it is, of 1. We see a lot of 1s there. Let's reset the search. And let's quickly scroll through. They're all 1. Don't tell me they're all 1. There we are. There is something weird. There is a plugin CCP services with a very high number. There's too much in this platform to quickly find what I'm looking for. Let's do dashboard. There we are. So we have our home navigation dashboard, UX1 home navigation with 2, well, I would almost say, since they're negative, very small numbers or very large negative numbers. The platform will display according to the number of those orders. What does it mean? It means that if my number, negative number, or is let's say the number farther on the negative side is the one that is displayed on top. Basically, it's a scale that goes from negative to positive. And if the number is very high, it's lower in the hierarchy. If it's very low, negative, it's somewhere on top. So you can play around with that. If you want specific applications to sit next to each other, give them a number that is close to that is the same, so they will always sit next to each other. Of course, with more applications with the same number, the system will just order it based on the application ID. So I can manipulate what is showing here. I enabled the item again. Let me go to my customers and log in as that customer again. So the dashboard is that negative number. Where are we? So if we want to move the dashboard, UX1 navigation. Come on. Not sure why it does not. Oh, there we go. Dashboard. If we want this one to be different. Oh, cool. What is happening? Am I logged out?
No, it does that sometimes. You click on somewhere and it goes back to the home page. I don't know why. It happens since always.
I've noticed that most of the time when it does that, it's because my access has expired. So I took away the minus in this case. So, oh, cool. Reset to default quickly. I know what is happening. There is something happening on this system because it's slow as whatever. Hibernate state exception. Cool. UX1 navigation. What I did is I just removed the minus. And if I click edit, and you see that the number should be between these two. If I only remove the minus, it's bigger than this one. So it throws an error. So let me go to the largest number. Basically what I did is I switched it from the lowest number to the largest number. If I now go to my customer again. That's weird. The dashboard should be here. I did save it. UX1. Are we looking at the same thing? It might be that we're not. Now the dashboard is at the bottom. You see that I don't set a standard entry point. The entry point for me as a customer is always just the option that is on top. And if I don't put the marketplace or the dashboard on top, it's just the next thing that is in line, which means that the users in this case is the entry point for the customer. It's a little bit weird. So you can play around with these things and have whatever you want be the point of entry for each of your customers. The same thing can be done at reseller level. The same thing can be done at provider level UX1. So you can play around with that. And it's fairly easy to reset to what it was. Because as long as you remember which items you edited, you can reset them to the defaults. Sometimes it requires a couple of clicks. Not sure why. Oh, there we are. Okay. And do this one as well. There we go. So we reset it again. For each application, if you want a customer to be in a specific application when he comes in, make sure that one has the highest, or sorry, the lowest number in there, and move something else out of the way. Some of them have a label. So you can search for the label and change it there. So this one makes that users is always somewhere high on that list. If you don't want that, take away the minus and it will be somewhere low on the list, and your applications will have precedence and better visibility. If you don't want your customers to add their own users, I can even hide this wizard, meaning that they cannot add their own users anymore. You have to do it for them. So there is a lot of flexibility in this. The problem with it is, of course, that it's hard to find whatever you want to do within 5,408, in my case only, options. So we discussed this one, the billing orders. I showed you that. If you are setting up your control panel for, let's say, entities that are not billing internally, I can show prices everywhere in UX1 for customers and take it away from customers. That means that they can order, but they won't know what it would cost them. I can imagine that this is, let's say, for an example that I sometimes use. There's a huge university that buys from us, and they want to supply services to all their departments, to all their faculties, et cetera, et cetera. The university just pays the wholesale bill, and each department should be able to order the services they need without knowing what it would cost. In that case, for their end customers, you create a reseller for the university itself, and from the perspective of the end customer, they see a marketplace and they can order in that marketplace, but they don't see the prices. Could be a solution. It's a security privilege in operations. That is what I wanted to say, to show you about managing the UX1 panel. So what questions do you have so far? If not, give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Ana Paula. Anybody else? A question? I see thumbs ups. That's no questions. That's good. In that case, let me stop the recording. And let me give you 12 minutes. 17 minutes of break.